Is it better? It's better, right? Okay, good.
So, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I have not prepared for this, so I didn't know what the expectation is, but I am here to share some of our experience in the industry. Whenever a new technology comes, everyone goes behind until we start building. So it's like sometimes it's too much. So I try to basically give you some practical examples of how this new technology of blockchain is actually, I mean, you travel by plane on see the economy and business, you see some of the seats people are reading about blockchain. I found somebody reading blockchain. I was thinking this year from, okay, I'm from Hollywood. So it looks like movie makers are looking at blockchain. So I think that's very important. Now, I was listening to Professor, so I thought I'll try about technology first, right? Why things change like this? When I graduated from high school, I wanted to study architecture. But then I saw like basically called engineering school was another option that I had. So you have a Bachelor of Engineering, Bachelor of Science in Engineering, Bachelor of Technology. And I asked someone, they say, what is this? Why do you have so many BE, BSCE, and BTech? And I got a very interesting answer. So there was one set of schools in India, very famous, like local IITs, right? And it's free, almost free actually, because government. So since it's free, you got to be very good. You go there and study. So they give BTech, and they actually took this whole thing from MIT because all the IITs are based, most of them are based on the degree group of MIT, a little bit just like MIT. So what happened is they said, that gentleman told me, if you're studying BSc engineering or Bachelor of Engineering, you take an existing process, a machine or any process, right, or instrument, and improvise upon it. With respect to time and performance and everything else. But when you study technology, BTech, you change the paradigm. Okay, and that is very important answer for me, and that's why I give you. That means if you have a shaft of a car, our engineering student will go through the whole process of forging it and then do machining it, then polishing it, buffing it, measuring it, roughing it, packing it, right? And say, how can I change the time? Because you know that making a shaft, the time that it spends at actual work is 0.25% of the total time to make a shaft. So how do you do all that, right? Whereas the technology will say, why the hell am I doing all this? Why can't I build the forging technology so accurate that I forge and I finish the product? You change the paradigm completely, and that is why it's very important to differentiate between engineering and technology. Okay, so it makes the thing very, very hard. Now let me talk about what is technology. Okay, now this is something again I've been going through. I mean, as we are talking, and something coming into my mind. I've not prepared anything. So I was many years ago. I was a program, and my job was to help them design their own car. Okay. And I have worked with most car companies in the world. Not Lamborghini, but Ferrari. So basically, they wanted to know what is technology, why I should buy technology. And that's talking about 92 or 93. They had only one model called Saga, and they were making around 100,000 of them per year. So it's very interesting. I said, look, to me, technology solves three real problems that stops us to be productive in business. Distance, time, and form. Naturally, if you look at physics, mathematics, it's all about three things: distance, time, and form. Okay? Now, the moment you add form, it gets more complicated, but distance, time is very simple. You know? Even the acceleration is the rate of change, basically your time. Right? So what I'm trying to do is that imagine a world, if you are talking to people, that there is nothing called distance. Everything is real time. And everything can be digitized and shipped anywhere in the world. And that was 93, 94 I'm talking about. And I asked them to close their eyes and say, how differently you will be speaking a business and doing a business. Same business, let's say, pronoun, right? If there is nothing called distance, everything is real time, and everything that will be digitized and shipped anywhere else, how differently you will do business, and nobody even predicts that. It is that tough. Now, not tough if you can imagine it well. Now, blockchain is coming about, I'm slowly getting to basically that context, the digitization or digitalization. Again, there are two different words. So some people take the chain, but actually there are two different meanings. You may digitize and just stop it there, but you're not digitalizing as yet. It means you're not communicating, collaborating with others, and manipulating, and that's basically so. As professor was going through my resume, I don't know why it's so long. It's basically urbanistics. So I worked for a corporate since 1982. I graduated until 2015, and then I said that I have done everything except one. I have already also been an investor. I've invested in companies. Some of them successful, some of them failed, but I never had my own. As a guy who is in R&D or technology, there's only one last dream. I have funded enough, I have developed enough, why not I can have enough? And that is completely different altogether. So I won't say struggling, I'm enjoying the roller coaster ride. So 3 years now. We are a data technology company for the built environment. That's what we're doing, you say. Now, blockchain, everything is all data. Okay? Everything about us is about data. There are two things we do, a process and a data. Whatever transaction we actually eventually do is actually a combination of two. It's a process and the data. And I think that's basically the three big. So to me, what we are trying to do is like give a little bit of history, why we get into blockchain there. Now, we have a technology, what we do is we build to create a digital twin of an entire city within a week. I can create a 3D model of a city if we have all the data. So New York took me 2.5 hours to do an entire New York in 3D with all the data, bikes and everything, revenue. Melbourne took me 7 days. BJ, I'm still struggling after 6 months. There's no data, right? Now, when people talk about spatial, we're doing spatial temporal, that's all you study about in college. So that's the 4 dimension. Ours is 6 dimension, that means you add basically performance, okay? That is basically time, so basically space, time, performance, and what we call is, I keep forgetting about that, I think I'll come back to it. So anyway, so that's basically what we do. Now what happened is, we found by digitizing and digitalization, the conviction is not, I see it, I'm talking as a business, but that's, okay, I wanted to know how many of you are management students and how many of you are technology? How many are, raise your hand, who are in management? Or entrepreneurship or something? Only 1, 2, are management, right? How many of you have a technology background? What's professor? How many of you are very good in math? How many are very good in game theory or understand game theory? Have you studied game theory? Good. We will get into that, right? So that's where, as I say, technology comes in different shapes and forms. So let me go through. So why we talk about token economics is this: that we found out that there was not enough conviction in the industry to digitize their cities. Now, conviction also comes with the difficulty because they don't have data, they have other things, and they have, so all kind of things I will not go through, but this is basically we learn. But then what I understand is if I integrate, add blockchain to my 3D model of cities, everybody is very happy. 2 reasons. One is the passion. Okay? And second thing, I'm no longer an urban technology company. I am a property technology company. Completely changed situation because people are, so VCs will be chasing you because you can scale, you can make a lot of money. Okay? Or I can decide, I'm happy with $5-6 million a year, 4 or 5 hotels, because once the technology is built, I'm basically 3.5 people company, that's it. And we can have a hotel membership and everything going cool. But again, I think that was not the purpose I started. So what we call it tokenomics is that we found out, I was reading something really interesting, Adam Smith. How many of you have heard or read about Adam Smith in management? Okay, good, because he's studying management, so he has to. Now, What happened is, I remember in those days when the slave, how he got the idea, the slave labor, right? So what happened is the people who are landowners, they will hire a slave and they will go in the morning and come back in the evening to their work. And at that point of time, there was a huge recession. And Adam Smith was known as the bright guy. So the landlord asked him, you know, we in a huge recession, my labor, I cannot basically hire them, crops are not coming up, things are not working, what do I do? And he came up with the idea, said, look, you don't take a piece of land and hire people to work. Why not you divide the land into many pieces and tell every one of them your salary is incentivized. The theory of the token is nothing but the theory of incentive. And that's where the concept of blockchain came in. I will tell you how later on, but just understand the benefits of tokenomics is eventually talking about a world where you and I will have our own currency, which is a token, which can be exchanged in a different currency. I can change it to fiat, which is government currency. So the government has its own currency, every business has its own currency, every individual can have their own currency. What's wrong? And then we have to go back to the old barter trade. Okay? That is where we change from internet of information to internet of value. So you really have to, this is where the physical part, imagination is very, very important. What you want to achieve a world, as the professor said that the thesis is, and then come back and say what I have and what I need to do. And that's how the whole story of blockchain came in, right? Blockchain was developed because somebody wanted to move $1 from here to here without paying any back. Okay? So that was very simple. And we have been trying this since 1980s. So that's basically the tokenomics is an economic environment, okay, or socio-economic environment, where people can exchange value without the interference of anyone. Like, go back to old days, I had 3 chickens, and yesterday that happened, I tried that, this was yesterday. Somebody gave me 6 or 8 avocados, very ripe. I cannot eat, and I know it will get stale probably over 3-4 days. And I wished that I could actually go to the internet and ask my neighbor if anybody has some extra chicken, and I can trade. The fair price of kilo of chicken, and you can barter. Okay, of course there will be a draft to pick up all kind of stuff, right? So I think this is all I'm talking about that Professor said that you want to do a research idea. You like to change the world without much, nobody effort. That's what you want to do. So okay, without much ado, I would like to go to the next. Where is the which one? Okay. So this is what the first way. I started working on the internet in '85. I was in the US. Somebody said, oh, I will do some work in MIT. I never liked teaching or studying anyway, so I go there to just fool around. So I was fooling around, and somebody introduced me to internet. And it was like I said, that was 9,600 baht. You won't even know what that means. Okay? And then after, a few minutes, somebody replied me back. Almost like 30-40 minutes, and I was very excited. At that time, I was working on TCP/IP committee to define the protocol for machine-to-machine communication. So you see how many things are going parallelly. Okay? So because that is a networking thing, and this is somehow internet is something different. So we are still looking at internet different than the local networking. Right? So I was in Chicago, and I was in MIT just for a visit because we were making robots. They don't shake even if they travel at 10-15 meters per second. Where they might be designing robots, the arms are shaking, the anthropomorphic arms. They wanted to know why, I was a journalist, so why when you make a robot, it's so smooth flowing. And when we are doing a student, it's as a term. Again, that's a different engineering problem. So what happened in the first wave of network is we could actually propagate information. Now this is very important difference between internet of information versus internet. When you try to do a PowerPoint slide I give you, it's very simple. It goes to the network, but I still have a copy, right? Try it with money, and it doesn't work. That's the matter, right? I can't have a copy. I still cannot. I have to deduct from my ledger that you gave 100 to him. Now you have only 400 if I have 500. That was not working very well. Okay. So just like the World Wide Web created a layer on top of the network, this new Internet of value that we want to do, it will not go through unless you have a ledger, okay, which is now distributed. First of all, you need to have a proper data. That means I must go ledger. Now, what happens today? Internet of value works in a similar way, but we have a CDO, what we call is okay. So at the moment, I have a clearinghouse, the bank has, right? I still have a ledger. So what you're doing is you're sending an information to deduct $100 from my bank. So there's so many people involved, right? So what happens is it is actually slow. Number one, very slow. Sometimes goes in 5 days, right? It is slow. It is expensive. So many intermediaries. We wanted to have, by that time when we are talking peer-to-peer, that means I want to send you 100. This is a sign form, right? I say, why should I worry about all this? I just sent 100. But then the problem is, who will actually, so then Bitcoin was formed as an alternative currency. Okay? And then, when this currency came in, and I used to basically double spending problem looking up to solve, so I created a distributed ledger. Now there's a difference between, slight difference between distributed and decentralized ledger. So we always, if you look at a blockchain, we talk about distributed and decentralized. Now what happens, the difference is in a distributed, you still have some control. And in decentralized, you don't have any control. So as I talk about, so we found a technology. Now, the difference is this. In a distributed network, so let me go through this first, okay? So the distributed ledger, now, a lot of people talk about decentralized and distributed. Blockchain is both. Now, Bitcoin is only decentralized, it's not distributed. It means it's all public. Whereas Bitcoin. Whereas blockchain technology as Ethereum has, they have designed it because you can do programming. So you can program the currency. Okay? Once you start doing that, you have to create some sort of this control. That means enterprises can use it. When I'm doing the first application of this decentralized ledger was transfer of money. That's it. I don't need any of that. So you have to have a public ledger. Okay, and there's millions of nodes and other things. But if you are an enterprise, okay, you want to basically use the decentralized ledger, that means you have to transfer value, let's call it, and you can do provision, basically. So you have some sort of a node there to do a control, which is basically, so that's basically, so centralized, distributed, and decentralized. So Ethereum is distributed platform, and that's why most enterprises, big companies are going after Ethereum. Now there's another one which is EU has actually ratified called R3. Now, again, I don't want to go through the communities basically say, oh, R3 is not blockchain, right? But it is a distributed ledger. Blockchain is a type of distributed ledger. Ethereum is a type of distributed so Ethereum is both distributed and decentralized, whereas blockchain is only decentralized. Now when you create your own DLT, so the key word here is don't confuse the DLT and a distributed ledger and all. The technology is called DLT, distributed or decentralized ledger technology. It's a data technology to design a distributed digital ledger. Now there are different versions of it that people will take. Okay? So one is Ethereum, one is blockchain, and there's others coming up depending on what we want to do. Now when you are trying as a corporation or anybody want to manage your Internet of value or value transaction transfer using a distributed ledger, you need to know what would be that I go for this, A, B, or C. And that is another, I'll talk about that later on. Now, this is basically what happens in here. So that's the difference between internet and blockchain. Now, basically, in general, this data technology ledger is nothing but a protocol. That means if you want to move from here to here, how does it now? In Bitcoin, when it came, it was only transferring money, so nothing else to do. Ethereum changed the world by looking at blockchain and say, look, I can actually do smart contracts. Now that is a huge, that's actually changing, basically the game changing. Cryptocurrency transfer of value is one, which is a huge implication. However, in a business, that's how these contracts. All the applications. So, say, in any DLT system, there will be three layers. Technology layer, which is the protocol and networking, and the application layer, which is an internal application token layer, and the governance layer. Okay, I believe they're all set of programs that we write. Now, in Ethereum, the programming language Ethereum is a Turing complete, like any other. Whereas the Bitcoin language is static-based. Doesn't make any difference. Both are good enough because nobody cares about Turing anyway these days. So that means Ethereum language is like any other language. Most popular language are Turing complete. Any question up to now? Now you take this. This is a very good. This is a set of blogs in 2014 when Vitalik, the Ethereum founder, started writing his own, and he came up with a lot of his papers. So all his blogs are into this link, so you can have a very nicely written. He was motivated by what he called, that's why the tokenization is more important, because in Bitcoin we don't talk about tokenization and token economy as much. He wanted to change the way we basically work. And that's what we talk about the free autonomous agent versus decentralized organization, with decentralized organization, autonomous agent versus management control. So all these things are actually the token thing. So to me, token can be coming in a very different shape. I'll talk about that later on. So, okay. So two ways to look at token. Is it quantify unit of value when differs from a traditional then more generic and programmable. So you have a currency that you can program. Basically, now you keep thinking about it. You cannot, there's no end of it. You just go to the internet and find a lot of stuff. How can you have a currency that you can program? Our currency, which is the fiat, is only a generic currency, but it cannot be applied to anything. But if you have a programmable currency like token, you can do anything you want with it. You can barter anything, right? So that is the token, it's a virtual, right? And it's crypto. Now this is the challenge of blockchain. Blockchain is the integration of three technologies. Game theory, this is math, right? You have to be good on. And the second is what you call is the computational computer science, okay? And the third is crypto science, okay? And all three of the intersection is what we call is the distributed technology. And that makes it, for a lot of people, to become a function company, basically, right? Now, something that came to my mind that I didn't talk about, because I'm just going very, very free, I'm not structured by thought. So, more generic and gives the capacity to differentiate now. Now, the second one is where it talks about, because of that, every company can have its own currency and have its own. Now, that is where a distributed network will come in. Proton and its supply chain, complete, third, first, tier, can become an economy on its own. Okay? Or could be any other company, because what is happening is there is one node distributing out and actually creating, so they can generate their own currency. They will all trade with their own currency. Now, because, now coming back to, I will go for what we are doing is when we tokenize it, we can have either our own exchange, because these are the secondary market. I can actually convert them into currency or into a share of Proton, or mix of both, or share of any other my subsidiary company. All that's where the programming comes in. So I can pay you for the service in in many different ways, and all in tokens and all in a different way of programming. All means a different thing. Now, if you are a share, that's where the regulation is very important in blockchain is jurisdiction regulation. So a few weeks ago, I think a month ago, I was with what is this federal? They call it VNM, right? The Bank of Malaysia, right? So Bank of Malaysia said they do not have enough know-how and confidence to actually go release a cryptocurrency. Malaysian government, and they don't know when. Okay, because they don't have confidence because they. But you could have a token. Go to a seat. They're very happy. Okay. What they're saying, the moment you have a token and you want to put it on sale, if you don't register it with SC, you go to 15 years jail. That's all the document. So they will treat. Now, this is different jurisdiction, has a different way of. Thailand perhaps is the most aggressive. Just suddenly in the assembly, they just basically approved the scriptless transaction. So, yeah, it's basically a done deal. So everybody is now moving to Thailand. Now, what is happening is very interesting. They are actually very much pressurized to unlock the value by moving into virtual currency, and at least tokenization, token economy. Token economy can unlock the value. Look at real estate. It's the best use case for blockchain today. Almost 300 trillion US dollar worth of assets, which is not liquid. Imagine a world where shares of real estate, of each asset become a company and become a share, right? It's trading every day. Okay, that kind of a volume like any other stock, why not? What stops us? And these are the, so I'm going to example the opportunities that can come in. So we were given something, and I don't know, I mean, if I remember, 10 billion pounds worth of, so I needed demand, so I clean the market, right? I needed demand, which is basically like the HDB of, basically, no, that's the supply side. So you have supply side would be typical equity, so it's no longer, we are not paying in debt, right? So we basically look at this way. By token, now this is something that I forgot about writing. One of the things about tokenization is fractionalization. Because you can digitize, you can fractionalize. Bits. That means a house or a building can be 100 million bits, and you can buy 1 bit as a share. And that, imagine that will change everything. I think today's parents should not worry about their children, the fear of not having home. What they can do is, today there are 1 or 2 companies that I know. They can encourage, they have a, you can go and buy real estate for $100 US. It could be, and the most famous is the Consensus, which is Brooklyn, in one of the Brooklyn Tower, right? Brooklyn Tower is all digitized, and they're offering $1,000 to pay a small percentage of it. Imagine 15 years later, the value, and you can sell for small things. So it's not better for young people than to put a fixed deposit. Interest rates are going down anyway. Okay? That fractionalization is extremely important. What encouraged us is today's fractionalization is, if you look at this company, they are like iProperty online, or basically, and what's happening is you just click, valuation is this, I go in, of course, when you submit to the exchange, they will go through all the vetting and positive the valuation right or not. What we could do is, because we are a 3D company primarily, and it's all vector, I can actually certain jurisdiction where you can, let's say in countries like India and now coming up in the US, there's a pressure and subsidy, that original zoning, let's say Jalan Marok, right? Because original single family homes, right, the land. But they changed the zoning into multi-family. Means you can build 5 floors, okay? And each floor can be owned by, so you can stratify, okay? If I know certain areas happening, I can quickly go in and actually offer that me as a fundraiser can go and get an equity financing and raise funds, $1 million, and then give tokens to people. So what is happening is, I can actually give them income. Of course, the guy SC, the jurisdiction is to allow, right? Plus, in return, because I can give them a part of my property. Now here's the thing. You must also digitize your titles. So I'm looking into all those things. It's easy to look at. That means if you don't digitize your title, once you have tokenized and digitized your entire asset, let's call it, you cannot double spend. You cannot go to someone else and say, oh, I want to sell my property and while somebody also has a part of it, right? That means your title page should automatically change the moment you offer tokenized digitization. You have digitize your property. All these have. So UK is the first government I know. 2 months ago, they have started digitizing and really digitizing and tokenizing, putting on a blockchain every land title. And I was talking to a friend of mine who was also present with our meeting with BNM. He says some of the properties are 950-year-old. And so title just goes on and on and on and on. How many had? I mean, in the UK, you know that some of them are very, very old. So to me, I'm just going through those issues that we come across. Yes, it's very exciting. Technology is there. I know how to program on Ethereum. So what? Okay, you really have to make a business case to the authorities. So land is very interesting. Other people, what they're doing is, I've seen people are tokenizing their watches. People are tokenizing paintings. Now, paintings are a very interesting example. Why? So I am a curator and I want to do an exhibition of Matisse and Picasso and whatnot, right? And they're super expensive. I don't have enough money. So I put together my experience, I put together a company and say, I want to do a 1-month exhibition on this, it'll cost me this much. So people will start, you tokenize it and start selling it. Okay? So they now own a little bit of Picasso painting, plus all what they, that has basically we call it asset back. Asset back basically, what do you call security. So you securitize it, backed by an asset, maybe one fraction of it. But then you will have a, again, I'm talking about it where a smart contracts comes in. So why Bitcoin, where Bitcoin comes in and where general DLT comes in, is because of the smart contracts. Smart contracts are immutable. You cannot, because you have to open your back wallet. But that's another thing that you need to know, right? So you have a transaction, you have tokenized a thing. Let's say the value of this much, right? You are making interest. You will transfer automatically $100 million from your bank into a wallet. And if the contract, yes and no, this set of rules goes through, money is transferred instantaneously. Now, it may not go gel very well with certain duration, but what is happening is countries where you have pressure, like India. India is actually all the farmland they're taking the title because there's the pressure. The political pressure of farmers committing suicide. I heard 23 farmers commit suicide every day in India. That's the thing that's going on because of that. Okay, those policies. So I heard, I'm meeting the Sabah minister because they have the same issue. Small holding farmers are not able to survive. Now this will also help in stopping the urbanization problem that we have. Look at the urbanization problem. I was going through the statistics department and they say between 2018 and 2025, 1.45 million new people will move into KL to live. In 7 years, you have to build another Kuala Lumpur. You know, Kuala Lumpur is 1.7 million, and it's 1.45. Okay? So stop this flow is again an idea of this blockchain where agriculture, there's no job there. That's why they're moving. There's not enough. Farmers are not doing very well. Now, again, instead of fractionalization, what we do with digital is amalgamation. Now what is happening is small holding farmers, they cannot do scientific agriculture. It's too small. Okay? They don't have enough money to buy seeds, tractors, and technology, or what we call, because Israel is doing, what MUST is also doing, is precision farming. And I don't know what they're doing yet, we will find out someday. But what I'm trying to say is this, what they are doing in India, and it's a Swedish company who started the whole idea. You go to 10 farmers or 20 farmers and amalgamate the land virtually. They still hold the title of their each, but virtually, I am willing to invest in the amalgamate everything at one. The moment it is one, you can do, you are having maybe 50 acres land, right? Then I can give you money for seeds, tractors, IoT, all kind of things, right? It's my investment in you. In return, the 10 or 15% yield improvement, I take 50% of it, say for example. Plus, I have my own part of it left. That's a smart contract. That is immutable and executable automatically. It's automatic, you can't do a thing. Okay, because when you have who stops you, right? You can't be just a gangster, right? So these are the technology layers. I'm not going into the detail. So if you see the tokenization layer, protocol layer, other layer, that's the one called consensus part of it. That's where the magic comes in, the protocol. That means in that consensus, like if you have a Bitcoin, there is a consensus protocol which is public. You have a public key and a private key, right? So what happens is, when the consensus, if it is put on a blockchain, it has to be executed because you have already given a consensus, means your wallet is already open. When the wallet is open, I can draw the money. Okay? So it's very, very difficult actually. It's also important blockchain is that it's much better hack proofing than the current way of doing bank. You see how many all the banks getting hacked all the time, right? So anyway, so I would like to go in before I get into more details. Yeah. Tell me when it's getting too much. Tell me when it's getting too much because you need to really, take it easy and I don't know. I try to be as technical as possible because I myself am not a programmer for blockchain, but I wanted to basically give you a high-level idea of how to transform. Let's say that, so this is what, once you start understanding, you start thinking, let's say the Gulf problem, right? Recently, New Zealand. You could stop that with blockchain. Can anybody tell me how? Can anybody tell me how?
What was the question? Yeah, the question.
Yeah. So, can anybody any idea now, knowing what blockchain and DLT can do? I said that we could actually stop these gun issues that happen in mosques, or other places, right? So, it's just to give you a clue, it's the integration of blockchain with IoT.
Tracing the
Transaction.
Yeah.
Because you go, you buy something from somewhere, right? So you have to license everyone is licensed. So manufacturer, each part of the gun, not the whole gun, has an RFID sensor. So you will know if it changes the part, muted everything, or he basically even try to change it, it will send a signal. But then the transaction are blockchain, right? Okay, so what is happening is this, you're not actually following this. So what you can stop is acts a deterrent. That is the moment someone opens the fire, you exactly know who sold it, how he sold it. So people will not stop selling guns to these people as a deterrent. So I think that's what I'm trying to understand, that you have a technology, whatever I say, just try to see a problem. Again, your research, try to find a problem. Not every problem you care about, because it may cost you $1 million and your return is $1, right? So you don't want to solve those problems. Problems that will solve. Let's talk about problems that we are trying to solve a long time, some time ago. In 2015 UN Habitat report, they say, if nothing is done the way housing problem that we see, urbanization, we don't do anything, by 2050, 2/3 of world population of cities will be living in slums or slum-like condition. Okay? Let's look at another problem. If we all today live like a living standard of a person from Bangladesh, for example, 1 Earth is enough. But the moment all of us, the entire population of the world, our living standard is like Malaysia, even Malaysia, we need 4 Earth. We cannot have one. It's a problem, right? Last year, we had a World Overshoot Day, means that was the time started when the resources from the Earth that we consume are much higher than what we give back. Now you can start extrapolating where we will go 20 years from now. So these are problems, right? So what I'm trying to say is that you have to find the problems with a scale that will have enough investment and enough return. Okay? So I think one of the things about any kind of new technology came in, like internet came in, automation came in, sensors coming, so many. Now you have so many technologies. You have sensors, you have cloud, you have big data, you have blockchain. Blockchain is just another data management technology. Then you start thinking how I can change. Insurance is a great example of blockchain, for example. Right? So finance, of course, we know. Everybody knows about finance, but there are so many other things. That's why the MUST and other industries are very much interested. So this is very, very important to really how to apply these things. Now, let me stop for a while and ask anybody has any question what they don't understand one part.
Yes, I have. Can you basically tell us the relationship now with tokenization, asset-backed security, real estate investment trust? So how does all these things work together?
Okay, so I have something to come back, but let me give you something. So let's say REIT. You have REIT today,
You have REIT, you have ABS, and then you have tokenized.
Yeah.
So how do...
But REITs are general shares you get, right? And you get dividend. But what's happening in the REIT is just basically shares, right? And you invest in shares like any other company, and then you get basically dividends, right? And you know REITs are also struggling in some way or the other. That's a separate story, right? The difference between REIT and blockchain integrated REIT, let's say for example, is different. Is that asset backed now? All your dividend shares are asset backed. That means what is happening in our case. So you go in, the simplest example is you type into our thing and say, I wanted to buy, okay, let's go back to the other stuff that I have. You go to Google Maps, let's say, okay, go to a city and I say, I want to buy a property in New York, let's say. Okay? And you just fly through on a 3D basis and you can see pop up where people are selling tokens because people have digitized their property and tokenized. It means they are offered. So what you do is, of course, you have to have escrow and all kind of thing. The escrows are all getting digital now. So this is interesting how banks, so for me, when people ask who's your competition and who's your partner, future partner will be bank. Bank will be losing everything, right? Because people go to bank. Or escrows. A lot of thing in escrow, if you go property, can be automated. This is a standard thing that they do, property guy. Put them in it. So what we'll do is we are doing automation, means all the escrow legal paper are generated automatically the moment I want to sell, buy in either of these two, right? Once that becomes a smart contract. Now, the issue can be that, which I'm hearing a lot of horror story, that if you don't have a good developer, they can screw up this smart contract and you have an issue. That's a separate thing, it's a technical engineering issue. But so what will happen, you have a REIT, when they become basically tokenized, what will happen is, let's say Pavilion REIT, for example. So one day you can go up and say, look, I actually have an asset-backed share. And you walk in, and how cool it is to say, you know, this theater, 5% of it I own. Yeah. I mean, it's not really a major thing, but what is happening is, that ownership actually gives you a long-term financial benefit, apart from your day-to-day dividend.
So really my question is, you see duplication of ownership in a way.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Equity token,
I lose the title. The moment I tokenize, I lose my title. My house has to go to the title, goes to the escrow. I have to be very careful about, right? That means I cannot have double spending. I cannot have a physical and a digital property at the same time. I cannot, right?
So some of the consequences is they could get REIT and asset-backed security out instead.
Yeah, REIT can.
Secondly, there are a lot more tokenization because
jurisdiction. Yeah. So what happened is, so every country will have its own. Let's say in UK, Germany, because you can have a cohabitation, right? And where, because of the automatic, even in India, automatic, when father dies, the son will get in. So the land is getting divided anyway. So ownership is very complicated. It gets into title, right? So what happened is this: if one property owned by 10 people, right, the right of refusal to sell or whatever is only for the guy who has the first title, who has the current title, because he has sold it to others, the part, right? But title is still under his name. So he decides whether he can. Because what people are saying is, oh, I buy a place and I want to live there, I want to buy. No, this is for investment, not for occupation. Okay? You will not go and take 15% of a property and dreaming that because the guy who has a title, he's issuing token. I'm just buyer, right? So is a share, company if he's not releasing share, I cannot own the company, same thing. So what we are doing is we are just creating the SPVs automatic. All the SPVs are within these 20 minutes. All the SPVs, everything ready. Okay, and vetted. And it is ready with the jurisdiction. So these lawyers have to be basically accredited. Investors have to be accredited. Okay. Only then you go. Now, the crowdfunding part is interesting because you can go in and say, okay, I have $100. I want to own this house. I'm part of this house anyway, right? And then I get, let's say, maybe 100 ringgit a month as a dividend. But so be it, right? But what I'm trying to say is it does very good thing for the government. It really boosts the liquidity. That is what the municipalities are looking for. I want a non-taxable income. I do not want to tax people and fix the road. I want to basically make money for enhance the liquidity and then do something. So this is something when we go in, that's one. If I go to PJ, MBPJ, I went, hey, give all the time, I want to do a 3D modeling, and that's too much of work for them. But if you give them the carrot saying that they say, hey, I will enhance liquidity because your regulation says you can do this, then he will say, okay, let's see more. But again, leadership is, I found out the major issue in real estate will be the leadership in the country, the municipalities, the banks and others, right? I mean, look at banks, when the blockchain came in, every bank embraced it, tell me. Now, JP Morgan today, they have studied their own blockchain. Their own, okay, quorum, right? So I think this is, again, the resistance is always will be there. So I think if you join, you can join either the pessimist or people always tell me that, oh, you know, it has to have a business case. Look, which technology that we are using had a business case? I mean, I'm old enough to start with the birth of internet, right, in 82, 83, right? Every time we put something, technology, we push something and see what happens. Every time it happens. We don't go through a top-down management thesis about whether this technology work or not. Just see and what happens, right? So blockchain, Bitcoin is always the same because the whole idea of a token economy is very attractive because I actually lose a lot of money when you have a fiat because it's government. So I am not changing the government's currency. Let the government has their own currency. Why not every corporation have its own currency? And their own community, right? So what we have is that I remember a long time ago, 1998, I think there was an APEC summit was in Malaysia. So I was invited to one of the keynote speeches on digital currencies. I don't know why, but I had to do that, right? And if I remember, there was no blockchain, there was no Bitcoin. I was looking at data technology because I've been working on data technology ever since I graduated, so I know data. Ledger, this and that, it's all about data. Now everything, what if M1, M2, M3, all the currency is distributed among the disk drives of the world, or the nodes of the world. How does the government know where the money is? So you really need to have many layers in between to make the whole thing work. And that is happened now. Because of this using all this, because of this, now this is a very core thing. Incentivize. So when we talk about our own company, we call it 3D parametric modeling tool with incentivized tokens for public and private blockchain. That means incentive. Blockchain works because of incentive. Now that's why I say in tokens, the incentives are many different ways. It's a system built incentive or I give incentive. That means if you give me money, I'll give you a dividend. There's a contract, but I will also give you an ownership of your company, which is legal, okay, depending on which jurisdiction that I can issue. Okay, so certain jurisdiction is okay. I mean, Malaysia will follow definitely. One of the most sophisticated jurisdictions I heard is Astana, Kazakhstan. Next will be Gibraltar. I mean, we're just waiting for when Brexit comes in. You can definitely, have a direct control over Gibraltar. Okay? Gibraltar was one of the first exchange of ICO, the digital exchange. Then you have Japan. Then you have Malta. Now another one, asset organization, mostly Malta. So I think these are the things that's very interesting because people are criticizing today that if you sit with 1 million tokens at $1 each or $0.50 each, right, of an asset, where is the secondary market today? Yeah, there is a secondary market, right? So that part is still there, but we cannot wait to have a secondary market and lose business. So what we are saying is, why don't just tokenize as a token, which is as a shares, right? And wait which jurisdiction pops up when. And then, because there will be an asset exchange for real estate class somewhere in the world, right? Say for example, right? Then go and trade. So what we are doing is, in our case, we don't want to be a fintech company. We want to be a PropTech company. So what we are doing is we are creating a gateways. That means I can do smart order routing. So connected to all the exchanges and trading platforms in the world. So I make money by routing business to exchanges and trading companies. I don't want to be a market maker, right? Let them do the market making part. So that's where basically, so we go through, so token, as we say, cryptocurrency, so these are all type of tokens available today. So basically 3 as a currency, which is basically used everywhere. Now say for example, data. Now there is a company which is very interesting now, how to collect data about the cities, right? So they are, again, you can create incentivization. You can do it in KL too, very easy. Anybody who takes a picture, so you have a basic cadastre already done, you get it from the municipality, you sit in there, but you don't have more property data for every spatial form, right? How many traffic, who lives here, who lives. Now people can go and start taking photographs and use the blockchain and proof of work algorithm, okay, to validate every picture through a consensus protocol. If it validated, pump it in, as long as there is a geolocation. So if you have a good semantic model, all you need is, this is a finger and this is the location, it just goes in. If you have a right model. That's what we do actually. We have a semantic model of a city. That means we can digitize any city and have data within hours. All I need is the right location, right properties, and everything is there. The moment I import, it goes in spatially in the place that I want. Okay? So it's not just one technology to solve a problem. You have to really know what problem you want to solve. Then what is the portfolio of technology I have to actually either basically transform it and automate it. But don't automate the inherited mess. And that's a lot of people do. So the other thing is important is utility token. So what should be a token strategy? So that's what I talked about in our case. We are not going into now. We can do utility token too. Say for example, I digitize my business, any business, and I go and raise 10 million, let's say for example, right? That means I have enough business that they think that my product can be used utility. Okay? So what will happen is, when they give me fiat and they give the currency, I can release my currency, they can use the same currency either to access or to basically do goods that they have already paid for it. You see how I'm basically, that's basically a utility token. He's not buying shares. You may buy shares in ICO, but what you're doing is, as a utility token, you can only burn those tokens by consuming services of my company. Okay, that's one way of using token. Okay. Now ICOs are dead in a way. I mean, it's still there ICOs. They're not that crazy. But utility tokens are not. You can use a token. It can be utility as well as share. Both. You can do hybrid tokens. And that's what we are doing basically as a second. So that token strategy is very important because you have to sell tokens. You have to issue, right? So and the other thing is follow the same way that Goldman Sachs does now. Here is very interesting. Why people chase JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs for IPOs? Because they have a credibility. And somehow people have a formula. When they price a token at $3, they know it will be hit 6 or 5.5 somehow, you know. So that pricing strategy is very important, and this is something that we are struggling with at the moment. I can create a token, but what should the price? Nobody talks about that yet, but that is a financial thing, right? Which is very, very important as a business. Because getting an ICO or getting into even a security token is just like taking a company into the market and selling shares, right? So you need to know what price. That's why the white papers are so important. You will give insight to people that how much is your multiple of investment as a cash flow. So I need 10 million now, but after 6 years, 10 million becomes 110 times, 100 million. End of the day, even this virtual thing, business has to be very real, right? So those are the things that's very, very important. So you must have a very sound token strategy. So this is, I will go more into that. So like, what is, this is a classification framework of a token. Now this is so standard, you can just go into internet and go through basically. It must have a purpose, utility, and legal status, underlying value, and technical net all clear. Then you create a token layer from that. So that's very, very important. Now, this is not as important when you're just simply transferring money to your brother or your sister, which doesn't have all those issues. Because only token in those is Bitcoin's token, which is an incentive token for the workers to basically solve the problem of being proof of work. But in Ethereum and others, where it is for industry, you need to have, because you have a very good strategy of how you are organizing the company. So imagine your company and your block is actually has to reflect your distributed ledger technology for the transaction. So it has to be exactly how your company will actually work, has to reflect it. And then you say, okay, fine. So you're talking about here, if I go, 5-dimensional legal status. Okay. You must have a purpose of the token, why you are basically dimensions and yeah, so different kind of things. The utility, as I already talked about. The legal status I was talking about is very, very important. You have to really look at which jurisdiction you have to go to. Now, for all DApps, digital asset-backed securities, it seems like people are going to either Astana, very recently, but it traditionally go to what you call it, Malta. And also, if you look at Deloitte, if you go into there, of course, they will not tell you, most regulators in the world are using Deloitte. You can just infer what things are going on, right? And that is really interesting because regulators have to basically your pricing. When it goes to exchange for trading, it has to be approved. Okay, so that's another area that you need to do consideration. Part legal status and the underlying value. This is very important. That, for example, you need to do a lot of research. What should be, how many tokens you go, what will be the base price of the tokens, and then you can say, oh, what's the valuation of my property, right? Okay, it could be 1 million, it could be 10 million, who decides how you basically do it? All this has to be vetted, okay? And that's why you have the consensus protocol, right? So you need to have a private network of people, including regulators and others, who will actually come in every time you tokenize to get approvals. Yeah, I don't want to get any technical there. This is an interesting thing is that you can play around with different token systems. So you say you can have a purpose, underlying value, utility, legal status. So you will basically go into different to understand that if you pick Steam or Agor and others, where actually you will go in. So that's you take the classification table and you decide, shall I go with Ethereum? Okay, does it fit in with me? So shall I go R3? That's basically the what technology to pick. Okay, so at what kind of token strategy to pick. So that's it. So I didn't talk about the decentralized application, but this is very. So what do you mean by decentralized application? That in today you have a server and you have a client, for example, front end, right? Now in this particular case, in blockchain, everything is decentralized. So the servers are actually with millions of servers you don't even know where basically working on, but the client could be basically one. So basically, depending upon what algorithm they're processing, smart contracts, for example, because it has to go through that network. Okay, and I think one of the most challenging is smart contracts. So that's what basically does blockchain private public versus private. We pick private, and what we call is that we are on the distributed. The Bitcoin blockchain will not work, but Ethereum and Corda actually will work because they are actually designed, because they are programmable, they're designed for enterprise. EU has ratified R3 Corda as basically their government. So all the European government will go for all the titles and all is done by Corda. So again, there is a community which is very angry because of that, because they say, oh, R3 is not blockchain. But blockchain is a technology, it is a distributed technology. So that's what I wanted to very clarify, that people to understand. Blockchain is not the ledger. Ledger is not blockchain. Okay? So you have to really understand your behavior. And I had a box of each of the behavior. Think about it and say, shall I attend this table? Shall I go pick Ethereum or shall I pick Steam? And each one of them has one industry in their mind, by the way. The Agor or Steam was for media industry, for example, right? The digital content, for example. So you need to really go through those and say, okay, for us, we are product. So that's the challenge, is that when you have two different, so in a distributed, like Hyperledger, IBM is very popular. So you have one cluster versus another cluster. If there are two different platforms, you will have an issue. They have to be satisfied, the ecosystem has to be worked. So today we have not solved that problem of working with two different technologies.
Do you have any preferred platform?
So as I said, that if you, for properties, for example, Hyperledger and Coda works very good. Ethereum is also okay. Because they are all kind of, see, Ethereum is 2014, right? Was the first time they came up who had the enterprise on his mind. If you look at his blogs and all. After Ethereum, all others are coming up, right? And you can have your own currency, so it's okay. I mean, that's not a problem. So, Hyperledger is good. You go to a company called Redium, which is basically, the name is Redium. Again, it's basically property buying and selling. It's not really debt. Ours is like, if I look at that you can sell a rooftop, you can in certain duration, right? I will sell a rooftop. Now, in New York, I can sell a space. It's not land, because the cadastre is 3D. So it's no longer safe, because the cities like